All right, you are now live.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. This is a meeting of the Halifax Regional Municipality Active Transportation Advisory Committee. And I'll call the meeting to order. My name is Hugh Millward. I will be chairing the meeting. First things first, we will begin with a roll call. I do want to remind everyone that in providing they're working, both your video and audio should be available and on so that people can both see and hear you. With the roll call, I'll go through the list of members. So myself, and actually we have regrets from several people. I'll just mention those. Douglas Wetmore, our vice chairperson, Annika Ropel, Elizabeth Pugh, and Peter Zimmer have all sent regrets. For the rest, I'll go through the roll. Holly Woodill, just let us know you're here, please.
Present. I'm here.
Thank you. Melina Casanavicius.
Right here. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul Young is not here, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. Miles McCormick.
Present, Hugh.
Hello, Miles.
Yeah.
Michelle Mahoney is not here, right?
That is
And
correct.
Brittany McLean.
Yeah.
Hello, Brittany. And Councillor Patty Cottle.
Present.
Thank you. So we'll proceed with also here, by the way, are the staff members, David McIsaac, who is Manager of Active Transportation, and Elizabeth McDonald, our Legislative Assistant.
Hello, David just messaged me and let me know he's having some connectivity issues, but he's trying to fix
Okay.
those.
Okay, I see him on the
Yeah.
screen there, but yeah. Land acknowledgement. The Halifax Regional Municipality is located in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral and traditional lands of the Mi'kmaq people. The municipality acknowledges the peace and friendship treaties signed in this territory and recognizes that we are all treaty people. Next, we have approval of minutes from July the 20th. These were circulated to the committee members. I'll call for a motion to approve, please.
Melina approves.
Melina,
second.
and was that a seconder?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Councillor Cottle seconded. Were there any errors or omissions from the minutes? If not, I'll call for the question. Those in favor of the minutes as circulated, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone saying nay? No. So I'll declare that the motion carries and that the minutes are as circulated. Approval of the order of business is next. Elizabeth, I don't think there are any additions or deletions. Is that correct?
There are no additions or deletions.
Thank you. So I'll call for a motion to approve the order of business at the agenda as circulated. I need a mover and seconder. Councillor Cottle moved and
Second.
Miles seconded. Thank you. Those in favor of the agenda as circulated?
Aye.
Aye.
And anyone opposed? I don't think so, from what I see. Okay, thank you. That carries. Business arising out of the minutes, there is none. Next is a call for declaration of conflict of interests. If any committee member feels they have a conflict of interest with regard to the agenda items, please let us know now. Okay, I don't see anyone, so that's fine. Now, item 6, consideration of deferred business. There is none. Item 7, correspondence. Elizabeth, has there been any correspondence?
No correspondence has been received from the clerk's office.
Thank you. And petitions, again,
There are none,
none
or
from the,
none were received from the clerk's office.
right. And have any committee members received a petition? No. Okay, thank you. So we'll move on to item 7.3, presentations. We have no presentations as such. We will have a staff report that we'll get to in a moment. Item 8, information items brought forward. There are none, which leaves us at item 9, a staff update from David McIsaac. Hopefully David has solved his problems and we can see him.
It looks like David is no longer on the call. Let me I will message him.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Maybe in the meantime, we could move we could either move
Yeah.
9.2.1 prior to
Yeah.
911, or we could move 9.2.2 prior to
Yeah,
911.
let's-
We would just need a mover and a seconder to change that.
Oh, all right. Do we have a mover and seconder to move on to items 9?
I'll move that.
Holly
Holly.
moved that. And was there a seconder?
I can,
Okay, Miles was seconding that. So we can proceed to item 9.
Yeah, we can proceed to, let's do, how about 9.2.1, which is the update on the motions that went to the TSC.
So just you will recall that at previous meetings, we passed resolutions, recommendations that were sent to the Transportation Standing Committee on 2 issues. And I'll just give you a rundown or a resume of how they fared. I'm pleased to say both of them fared very well at the Transportation Standing Committee. And it's clear that this is the way that our committee can have maximum impact, is to move things through as recommendations to the Transportation Standing Committee. Hello, David. I can see you there. We're going to come back to you. We're currently on item 9. Okay. So the 2 recommendations. Firstly, regarding the Windsor Street Exchange redesign, we had recommended that the Transportation Standing Committee direct the CAO, Chief Administrative Officer, to prepare a staff report on the Windsor Street Exchange redesign, which should include 5 items: separated and wide sidewalks, separated and protected bicycle lanes, dedicated transit-only lanes for public transit, protected intersections safe for all vulnerable road users, and design for 40 km/h traffic speeds. That was moved by Councillor Lovelace and seconded by Councillor Cuttle. And there was a brief discussion, particularly as regarding whether HRM had the ability to set a speed limit of 40 km/h, but that will be looked into in the staff report. So that passed. The other one was the active school travel recommendation. I won't read the whole thing, but basically the recommendation was that the Transportation Standing Committee request a staff report on HRM developing and adopting an active school travel policy and plan to include considerations of partnering with other stakeholder agencies and allocating funding for necessary education and infrastructure. That was moved by Councillor Cuttle and seconded by Councillor Lovelace. And again, that, as I recall, having watched the session on YouTube, that there was no issues with that. It passed easily. I can entertain any questions about that right now, but actually, I would imagine if we have any questions, it should go to Councillor Cuttle. No? Okay. So, and again, thank you, Councillor Cuttle, for championing those two recommendations to the Transportation Standing Committee. So we can go back to item sorry, here we are. To item 7, wasn't it? Oh.
I think it was 9.1.1.
9.1.1. So David McIsaac will give us an update on staff activities and particularly what's been happening over the summer. I think we'd like to know what progress has been made on the various the work of the
capital projects.
Yeah. So away you go, David. Thank you.
David,
Thanks.
are you going to try to share your screen?
No,
Okay.
I don't think I will. And I think
Okay.
everyone will be happy about that.
I can go ahead and do that. Just one moment.
Thanks. You'll be the only person who's not happy about it, but I appreciate it.
All right. And you can just let me know when you want me to go to the next
So-
slide.
Can you make that? Excuse me. Can you make that full screen?
Isn't okay. I thought it was coming up as full screen. Sorry.
Oh.
Actually, 1 second.
Everybody, sorry about that. You can hear me now?
Yes. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
All right, we better get this going quick, Elizabeth, before I disappear again.
Okay.
So next slide, please. Oh, no,
Sorry, I'm having it's not resume
sorry.
slideshow.
okay, good. Was there a slide before this one? Construction
I just
update
have this one.
Can you go back one?
Update 2.
Oh, is there update 1?
The only one I have here is the 2024 construction update 1.
Okay. So I'm seeing a slightly different slide, but is everyone seeing construction update 1?
No, I'm
No.
too.
2.
Okay.
We see construction update 2.
Okay,
Oh.
there we go. I think
That's
that should
what-
be
Thank
fine.
you.
There you go.
Okay, so I kind of took this from the capital plan, so that I apologize for the small text, but so one category of capital is new sidewalks, and you can see the sidewalks that were in the plan this year. There was the first sidewalk in North Preston, that's on Kane Street, so that one's under construction. Then we have Joffrey in Dartmouth, Flamingo Drive in Bedford, Main Avenue in Fairview. Those are just segments, but they are built. There's a big segment or an important segment on St. Margaret's Bay Road from Brentwood to Fitzgerald's grocery store that we had to delay to next year due to utility pole relocations and a few other complexities. Otago Drive was built. Ilsley in Burnside is designed, tender. I'm not sure it's tendered, but for a couple of reasons, that one is pushed to 2024. And then connecting to that on Ronald Smith Avenue, that project was tendered, and we're just not quite sure yet whether they will actually build it this year. The East Preston Greenway, that's about a 1.3 kilometer multi-use pathway in East Preston. We've started construction, but most of that will happen in 2024. There's a recapitalization of the Forest Hills Trail from kind of picking up from where the CHAPTA had done some work there probably around 5 years ago now, upgrading an existing pathway. And so that will get done this year. And then the second part of that is to connect it right to the Bissett Trail at Cole Harbour Road. A couple of little projects in Sackville on the Sackville Greenway that we're working on. There's a challenging drainage area that we are going to go in and rebuild a little bit to see if we can fix. That one has just started. And a new accessible trailhead for that facility behind the Lions Club. That one is just getting started, I think, this week. Next slide, please. Okay, so two tables here. We have a category of projects that we call active transportation general. So one of the categories is like AT amenities, so wayfinding, signage, bike parking, that kind of thing. So on that front, we're just about to start a new patch, a new bunch of designs for wayfinding signage that would be designed over the winter and go in next year. On education and promotion, probably our main activity this year is our contract with the Ecology Action Center to deliver bike safety training, bike repair training, community-based kind of work. And we updated the regional center bike map. We really took a hit on education and promotion this year, I would say, because Eliza Jackson left the municipality and Chloe Kennedy in our group, who was the lead on education and promotion, also took another job. Project management, that's just something we need to do when we get money from the feds. So we have a project manager that we pay for the East Preston project. Land acquisition, we probably spend anywhere between $200,000 to about $600,000 a year on land acquisition. No more sometimes. So we've got a few deals kind of pending right now. And then the last one there is sort of bikeway road safety tactical improvements. We've done quite a few of those in Dartmouth inside the Cirque and the peninsula. So like Devonshire, Slater, Bell Road, Liverpool, and it's tendered but not yet built, kind of a north end through Maynard, Creighton, Northwood, Fuller Terrace, those kind of streets. And then on the regional center bikeway, we are having some problems with a few projects this year. Dartmouth Harbourfront Greenway, kind of a really short but important segment there, kind of right above where the Coast Guard base used to be. I think it's some new design and innovations at place now. So we need a chunk of land there with from a property owner. We thought we had a deal. We thought we had an agreement on price. But when they took it back to their decision makers, they asked us for a new offer. So we have to come back with a new price for that. Almond Street, super important project. The two main reasons that was not ready to be built this year are, one, the construction encroachment and the reinstatement in front of the Richmond Yards project was not ready when we hoped it would be ready. And the second reason is we went back for quite a bit of redesign for the way the bikeway will look in front of the CNIB offices and facilities, to go to a bike lane that's separated vertically rather than with tiles and that kind of thing. So that makes it a better facility, I think, for everybody. But it makes it more difficult to construct because you have to actually dig into the street and lower the street to kind of make all the drainage work. So that is where that one project stands. North End Bikeway between Duffus and Young. It's ready. It's pretty close. It's not an overly complicated project. There's some hope that that will get done this year, but it's not out for tender yet. And then Oak Street Local Street Bikeway is it's a fairly simple one. It's just basically adding some traffic calming to 4 blocks of Oak Street. And that one is if it hasn't been done yet, it should be done this year. So maybe I'll stop there. That's the total update. There's one more slide that kind of gives the community group projects that we're supporting. I don't have updates on all of those. Those are implemented by groups like Holly's. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. So that I'll pause there and see if the committee has any questions on the capital program this year.
Okay, thank you, David.
more
Let's just go through the list of who's here and see if you have questions or comments. Let's start with Councillor Cuttle. Councillor?
Counselor Cuddle, we can't hear you. I think you're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. I think the presentation, I don't know, somehow the screen couldn't see the unmute button, but there I found it. Yeah, no, I have no comments. Thank you very much.
Okay, Councillor, thank you. Holly Woodall.
I have no comments except that David, you condensed a lot of stuff in a small package. Thank you.
Maybe, yeah. There's a novel behind each one of those little lines there, but anyway, that's a quick update.
I understand fully.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially since we may lose our quorum any moment, I guess. Milena Kasanavicius, do you have any questions or comments?
Yeah, just a few comments. David, thumbs up. I know how we're huge and front and center for bike lanes, but I repeat myself over, couldn't be happier with council and city and development and sidewalks, because active transportation includes those of us who walk. So really happy, really impressed. Keep up the good work on that. Second, just want to give a quick explanation because I felt bad after putting Dylan through on the Almond Street bike lane for 2 hours. I think we pretty much tortured him and beat him to a pulp. So people understand, in front of CNIB, we have elderly people that are newly blinded or have lost partially part of their sight. And so the bike lane there was just not going to work with elderly vulnerable people with the park lane to cross a bike lane and to find their way through tactile pavers that you do not feel when the gravel is there and the snow is there. And it can be extremely disorientating, dangerous, and confusing. So I'm very happy to see what we have come up with. It's not the best, but we can bend and compromise. So thumbs up on that. Thank you just for all the cyclists. So maybe people can just calm down a little bit. It's an important issue here to me and to my colleagues. So good job on that. And just keep up the great work. And I do want to say, love the new active transportation team members, Catherine, Anders, and Martin. Fabulous. So end of thought. Thank you. End of thought. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Milena. Mars McCormick, do you have any questions or concerns?
I have no questions, but thank you, David, for your work.
And Brittany McLean?
Thanks, David. Just one question. You said that you were doing work on Oak Street. Is that in Dartmouth or Halifax?
Halifax.
In Halifax. Okay. The Oak Street in Dartmouth is like super steep hill, so I was just curious. Thanks.
Yeah, I think we added Oak Street. I mean, I was going to say, I think we added sidewalk on Oak Street.
You did by Sullivan's
Okay.
Pond. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if it was going to continue up the hill, but sounds like it's Halifax, so maybe in the future. Great. Thanks.
Okay, and David, what I'm seeing right now is, I guess, your third slide. Do you want to speak to that?
Sure, I'll keep going then. There's about 4 more slides left. So
Oh,
I
I see.
think one of you, yeah, a couple of you folks, someone had asked about our involvement in the provincial active transportation strategy and off-highway vehicles. So really, our involvement was probably very similar to the involvement that folks here that participated. We filled out surveys, and various staff members went to the engagement sessions. And I think the specific question was about ATVs and off-highway vehicles. And so I really, if I'm going to those sorts of things, I'm really kind of trying to do my best to reflect what council policy and council direction is on anything. And right now, our direction on ATVs and off-highway vehicles is, on our own property, on our own streets, and in our own parks and our own multi-use pathways. They're not permitted. But council's never really taken a position on the provincial policy, I guess. And so that's kind of where it stands. So I can come back to that and answer that after I finish here, but that's sort of where I try to preserve a bit of sanity around this issue and just sort of like do what council tells me to do, which is focus on AT. All right, next slide, Elizabeth, please. So just to kind of give you a sense of what we're looking at this fall in terms of priorities, we're going hard in some rural communities this fall as the first step of the Rural Sidewalk Program, to go to the communities and first find out if they're willing to pay a bit of a higher tax rate in order to get the sidewalks. Once we know how those communities feel, we'll go to council, get their kind of pre-approval, and then that's our start button to then actually go in and do the planning, design, and construction of those sidewalks. We have some more public engagement coming up on a few projects. It's going to be Dartmouth heavy, I think, and maybe a little bit of South End this fall. Big thing that we do every fall is work the community groups on their capital and recap grant submissions. So I think the period is open right now. We've been probably spending really, I budget about 500 grand for it every year, and we almost always come in with about 500 grand in applications. So it's as long as the project is eligible, we've been able to say yes. So we'll see what we get this year. There's bigger ones kind of coming that I'm a bit worried about where we're going to get the money, but anyway, so that we'll figure that out this fall. A big one, I think I'm not sure how I'm going to involve you folks, but I might try to find a way to have a bit of a discussion, is a sidewalk level of service report that we're going to bring to council. And what we're going to
David, we've lost your audio.
I think David might be frozen.
He looks happy though in that post. One is to be frozen.
Sorry. So sidewalk level of service should be an interesting report.
Is this on the right slide here? Okay, I think we're on the right one now.
So, David, we lost your audio there for a while. So I'm not sure that we heard what you had to say about the sidewalk level of service report.
Oh.
We lose David again.
I'm back.
He's back.
Sorry.
We didn't, it's Melina here. We didn't hear anything you said about the sidewalk level of service.
Okay. Sidewalk level of service will be a trip to council to give them clear information on where the gaps are now, the number of gaps, how much it would cost to fill them, and some scenarios about, how long it would take to fill them, depending on how much money we get. The second to last one there is we've been doing quite a bit of work on the good old McDonald Bridge bikeway connection on the Halifax side. And we are, I think, narrowing in on a couple of options, probably a shorter term connection option and then a longer term option, but that will go to council this fall or maybe in January. And then another one we really need to get back to council on is their request for a plan and a budget for a new crossing of Highway 101 at the Beaver Bank exit in Lower Sackville.
Yeah.
Thanks. Next slide. So I won't go through all these. I think Elizabeth's going to send you. These are kind of the active.
David, we've lost your audio again.
I think we should lobby our counselor here, Miss Patty, get David better service where he's living.
That's a provincial issue.
Oh, well, can't you pull some strings up there?
Oh, if only I had that power. Give it to me.
Oh, he's gone out.
Oh,
Sorry.
it looks like he's back.
It's
Okay, David, we lost you again there. Please go, carry on. Oh.
I wonder if it's his video that's slowing him down, or that's kind of affecting his connection.
Is there one more slide after that?
After that, there's that
There's two more.
slide. There's two
Oh.
more.
Okay.
Okay.
So why don't you go to the next one, Elizabeth? Just
Okay.
let's go quick in case I drop off again.
This one?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Perfect.
So I'd say the biggest challenges to kind of making progress, getting things done, have been just the human resources challenges all around. I think our group, we took a hit this year with some staff moving on, so we're back to full staff. I'd say a bigger impact has been, to get any AT project done, our group is like one part of it, but there's so many other people involved. It needs to be surveyed, it needs to be designed, there needs to be a construction inspector there to work with it. And we're short-staffed in all those groups, mostly because we can't find people to fill the spots. Another challenge has just been the pulling away of resources to address the wildfires, especially the flooding. The construction sector, our designers, everybody kind of got pulled into repairs and that kind of thing. And then the usual complexities like land acquisition, project complexity, construction encroachments. Final slide. Some positives. We have a really significant bump in the new sidewalk budget that will start next year. We do now have a fully staffed AT group. I'm starting to see things like the Penhorn Greenway getting completed this year. That's something that was built into the development agreement. So we didn't pay for any of that. We just gave them the design. So that's kind of happening in a few places now, which is great to see. we went council and the community, everybody kind of supported the area rate for the rural AT, our first run of it in East Preston. So going into the community and going to council and ask for a tax increase is not something we normally do in the AT world, and went pretty well. And we've got most of our kind of bikeway, road safety, quick build projects built, like Devonshire, Liverpool, a few other spots. So I saw Devonshire for the first time today, and people were biking on it. Loved it. So I think that's my update. I really apologize for the internet issues, but
That's okay. Thanks for the presentation, David. I know I interrupted you in the middle there. I thought you'd finished. I'm going to ask if Councillor Cuttle has any questions or concerns, because I know you have to leave shortly.
No, I'm actually good. Thank you for the update. It was informative.
I should mention one thing, seeing Councillor Cuttle there. One thing this fall that you all get an invite to is the Mayor's Bike Ride, which is going to be in beautiful Spryfield on the 22nd of October, day before the Bike Summit starts in the same location. So more to come on that.
Okay, thank you.
Very excited about that. Thank you, Dave.
Any questions from committee members? Any further questions on David's presentation? Just
It's Melina Hugh. David,
Yeah.
I'm just curious, is there any way, as you know, I ride my tandem and I've been over the bridge, over the McDonald Bridge, and we kind of wiped out. So I'm hoping that project will be finished sooner than later. It's a pretty sharp turn to get onto that bridge, especially when you're on the tandem. But the Mayor's Bike Ride, you know, to get over to Spryfield for me, unless I find someone with the truck, it would be nice if the mayor, and I don't know who should be spoken to, but could provide for people, you know, with disabilities and have different types of bicycles to help to get them over there, because I love the Mayor's Bike Ride, but can't put the tandem on the bus. You know, so I'd love to be there, but I can't get my bike over, and I can't ride the bike by myself. Smiling. End of thought.
okay. Well, thank you. That's obviously a problem. I can see that. I can see that's a problem. If there are no further questions to David, perhaps we should move on to item 9.2.2 on the Bike Summit event. Brittany McLean, I believe you were going to provide an update on that.
Yeah, sure. Just before I do, Melina, I don't know if you can tell, but I think David ended up getting kicked out again while you were making that suggestion. So maybe send him an email just to follow up on it. I'm not sure if he heard the whole thing.
Great.
I feel like he would not miss it. Okay, so I just wanted to talk about the Bike Summit. This is like Cycling Nova Scotia's big day. It hasn't happened. It used to be annually. It hasn't happened since before the pandemic. So this is the first one in a while. It'll be Monday, October 23rd from 9 a.m. to 4:30. So it's a full day thing. It's at the Captain William Spry Community Center in the big community room there. So we're excited this year. We're partnering with Ecology Action Center. And I have a couple notes from Annika because there's a week-long events, and Councillor Cuttle, if you want to jump in at any time, knows all about the festivities that are going to be happening that week. But basically, it'll be a whole week of active transportation involvement in the community. The Bike Summit kind of starts off the week. This one's directed more at AT professionals and advocates, so it's not necessarily open to the public. There will be one portion where we have a fair that'll be open to the public, and that's just tables set up from different organizations to share active transportation information. But basically, the event will run the full day. We have speakers from the province to give us an update on the AT strategy. We'll have a panel on municipal implementation. So we invited a few municipalities from around the province to talk about some of the infrastructure projects that they've been working on, you know, some of the challenges they've had and some of the wins that they've had with building their active transportation. And then in the afternoon, we'll have a community trail panel. So we have trail workers in Nova Scotia Trails is going to come. They're each going to give presentations and then do a panel and answer questions on trail building around Nova Scotia as well. So we'll also have a bike ride during the day, kind of like making it a little bit fun. We're trying to plan a nature walk as well that people could go on. And there's a little bit of communal space where we'll have tables set up and start having conversations about active transportation as well. So basically the event is just to inspire everyone back to AT after the pandemic. So much has happened since the pandemic. Bike sales skyrocketed. And there's been a lot of work that's been done and we haven't gotten together to talk about it in a while. So we'll be sharing stories, sharing our challenges, and then basically using it as a venue to make connections so that we can continue the conversations going forward. So hoping that it's not just, the end of the day and then the conversations end. Hopefully people will be making relationships, picking up some tools and making some connections to like learn about grant opportunities and, learn to not make mistakes that some other municipalities kind of ran into and have some inspiration going forward. So that's the Bike Summit. You're all invited. I believe Elizabeth sent out an email with the link to register. We only have space for 80 registrants right now. Right now we're just about to 80, so get in quick if you want to make it. And then, so Annika is not available today to be at ATAC. She's, I believe she's at a conference in Ontario right now for active transportation, but she did leave me some notes. So basically, the Bike Summit is one day of week-long activities. It'll be running the week of October 23rd. She's right now planning a soft launch on October 15th. I believe that's the Saturday before. And that'll be at the Spryfield Library. So basically throughout the week, they're planning on having free activities for walking, biking, rolling, busing. They're talking about bus infrastructure as well. And then they're also going to have their pop-up bike hub in the community. And so they've got a really neat cargo bike with all the different bike tools. And so community members can come bring their bikes, learn how to fix them, have minor things fixed on them. And the only thing else that Annika left with me was that Ecology Action Center right now is they're still planning the week's events. So they're looking for organizations to host different types of events, community walks, community rides, things like that. So if you or of anyone else who might be interested in doing that, then contact Annika through the Ecology Action Center. You can just get a hold of her on the website, or alternatively, if you're going through ATAC, maybe go through Elizabeth and you can get her contact information. So that's it. And Councillor Cuddle, maybe you can fill in the blanks where I've left.
Thank you, Brittany. That was very informative. And does anyone have questions to Brittany?
I do. Well, questions and comments.
Yes, Councillor.
Yeah, thank you, Brittany. That was great. And I just want to start by saying I am so excited that this is taking place in Spryfield. I think David can attest to the fact that I've been a big advocate for trying to get a AT strategy for the community of Spryfield put in place, so people, not necessarily for commuting from Spryfield to the downtown, but looking at how people actually get around in the community of Spryfield to school, to the arena, to the community center, to the grocery store, to their friend's house, etc. So, just having this in Spryfield is a tremendous leap forward, and I hope everyone is able to attend. There's a couple of things that I would like to see as an outcome, and perhaps, Brittany, we can have a meeting when Annika gets back to kind of talk about some of the details. I mean, I have community groups who could organize walks. I have all of that information. I think it's just getting it connected to both you and Annika, and putting together a program or agenda, which is what we talked about just the other day with David about the mayor's bike ride. So, getting the details in place. But a couple of things I'd love to see, and I don't know if there's an opportunity to work this in, or perhaps it's a follow-up that we could look at doing, is one, really establishing an AT committee in Spryfield that's kind of hooked into Cycling Nova Scotia and Halifax Cycling and the EAC for resources. that would be great, and kind of see that as a model that could be duplicated in other places in HRM interested in the same thing. And the other piece would be about, well, if I was to dream, really put my dreams on the table here, a design charrette for what a community AT network might look like in Spryfield. That might be pushing things too far. Maybe that's a follow-up we can look at doing, kind of, using this as a catalyst for making that happen. But as you can tell, I'm kind of excited and enthusiastic about all of this. So thank you for those who are working on it.
Thank you, Councillor. Anyone else have comments to Brittany?
Just Milena here. Councillor Cuddle. I don't think it's too much to ask for. I, for one, living on the peninsula here, want to be able to get to Spryfield, where some of my friends live, safely on my bike, because I think it would be a great ride. And though I can't see it, it's a beautiful feeling to be out there. So yeah, let's push it all the way through. And sadly, I won't be at the bike summit. I've been waiting for 2 years for a long-awaited appointment, so smack dab in the middle of the bike summit. But all the best there. And last to Brittany, will we be informed of the soft opening? I think you said October 15. Like, will there be all that information sent through to us? End of thought.
Yeah, thanks, Melina. I will contact Annika and make sure, I'll get her to send it through ATAC. So she's kind of arranging the soft opening. I'm assuming they'll have it probably on social media as a launch as well, but I'll let her know to send it through to ATAC, to send it to Elizabeth, to send around. So you'll get it one way or another.
Great, thank you.
Sounds good. And just Milena, I was just chatting with David, and he said he did hear your question and he's going to get back to you.
Excellent. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, very, very good. Any further comments or questions regarding Brittany's presentation? If not, this is probably a good time to bring our meeting to a close, since Councillor Cottle has to leave and that we will lose our quorum. So just to let you know that the date of the next meeting for ATAC is October 19th, and I certainly hope we will have more of the committee there. And I just need a motion to adjourn.
Milena calls adjournment.
Okay, Milena, you call motion to adjourn. That we no need a seconder for that. So thank you again, everyone, and hope to see you in October at various things in October. Okay.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. What a efficient meeting, Hugh. Well done.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.